So we're going to jump into our watch party, which if you don't know what that is, every week we talk about 2 episodes from a show you guys chose. Right now we are watching Shirobako episodes 13 and 14. And we just jumped into a new show within Shirobako.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of shows within shows. So
Third Aerial Girls Squad.
Yes, we wrapped up Exodus, and now we're into Third Aerial Girls Squad. So Diesel-san.
Diesel-san! She's so cute!
Diesel-san!
Boys night?
Boys night? We'll talk about that later. We'll explain later. Something I really liked from these episodes was the what is your favorite kind of cloud question? Because first of all, everybody knows a lot about clouds. I don't know how they all like
Nimbus.
I'm like Nimbus.
I'm like, okay,
2000.
there's fluffy clouds, and then there's the ones that sort of look like they trailed off of a jet plane, and then there's like scary clouds.
And there's like the really high ones.
And then the high up clouds. That's all I know. So I was struck by how much Miyamori knows about clouds, but also I like the seeing the nuance of the animator saying like I like clouds because I can never get them right, and I'm challenging myself to one day be satisfied with a cloud that I make, and that's one of the things that keeps me going with work is if I'm never 100% satisfied, I'll always want to try to be better.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. I liked that. It was such a relatable conversation with such a weird prompt. Like, oh, what's your favorite kind of cloud? So I liked that scene a lot. I think that was my favorite scene of these 2 episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like Miyamori is now a production desk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's production desk.
She has so much on her.
Weird. It's a weird title.
I'd be really mad if they didn't give me a raise because yikes.
Yeah, did she not get one?
I
I'm
mean,
sure
she's
she did.
talking to her sister and she's like, oh, I don't know.
She gets compensated.
Yeah, she's
for
like, I think there's a
something being
desk compensation.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody talked to her about that, which is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, now she's thinking about the whole season at once and all that, rather than episode by episode. And then now Totaru's production assistant lead or something like that. I was like, oh no.
He should be fired.
Well, then they won't have anybody.
Yeah, and whenever they first opened that scene with the meeting and there's like 4 people there, it's just like, oh, Usani's getting a little thin.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah. But she's doing a good job. I mean, she took all that work. Like, she's handling it. That's for sure.
So let's move off the Musani crew. I'm going to get a comment from Giselle De Silva. When Zuka-chan tries to be cheerful in front of her friends, you can hear her holding back her tears, which just made me choke up on my own tears. As a recent graduate, I can relate to the frustration of not getting a job because of not having enough experience. How are you supposed to get experience if you never have a chance? It feels like a vicious cycle. And now her friends are all working on the same project, but we see her growing and not allowing herself to get down in the dumps like Zuka-chan. You can learn something from every experience.
That scene hurt so bad.
I was really hoping she would get it too.
Especially seeing that she came really close.
Yeah.
And that's hard when you don't quite get something. And all your friends, because their goal was to make an anime together, right? And now 4 of them are working together, and she's left out, and that's hard when all your friends are more successful than, or more objectively successful than you. I would argue that, success isn't super measurable, but.
And then also that they're all working together except for her. Yeah. Like, she's like, oh, I almost got it, but I'm not really there with you guys, so.
Yeah, that process when they're picking the voice actors is so,
I hated that scene.
Yeah.
I actually really like that.
Like that one guy was objectifying.
It's so tiring, but I think it's so fun. Because, okay, so if you look at this, the past arc we had, and we look at this arc, the last one was a lot more about the production, about how it happens and comes together. And this one seems like it's going to be more about the politics. Yeah, like what happens. Because now they're working with a manga artist. Like, they have to work with this guy to make sure that everything is approved. And, it's a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
But honestly, I couldn't wait for that scene to be over. I hated it so much.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty gross guys. So.
Yeah.
She's the one with boobs. And I'm like,
yeah.
That was...
but she can cosplay, and she has boobs. It's like, oh, and everyone was just like, please stop.
I know, right?
You know, there's the whole internet. There is a whole internet where you can see whatever you want. So, calm down.
By the way, what do you think about Rinko stepping down? Like, that was... Everything's just falling apart. Because now they. Oh well, actually no, they did get the guy to do the supervisor, right? Animation supervisor. The one that for the clouds guy, was he the one that was supposed to replace?
Yeah.
Ringo?
Yes.
Okay, so it did work out. But when she decided to step down, I'm like, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
on a new show,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I like all the cloud stuff. It's weird because you're like, well, why do they care so much about the clouds? It's like, guys, the show's in the sky. Don't forget.
I know.
Because at first when I watched this, I was just like, oh yeah,
Wait,
clouds.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I like that scene so much, and I didn't think about how it was an aerial girl squad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to bed.
That's
I'll
what.
see you guys later.
Yeah. So like, I think that's like such an important scene too, and like a pivotal moment for this because it's like, hey, we need to make sure the show looks really good, and then like why it's so important that they snagged him for the show. So don't forget about that. They're flying a lot.
Dumb. I might be dumb. Oh my gosh. I thought it was just a nice thing about like, oh, I want to keep working at it because it's the one thing I can't get right. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, but it also was they're flying. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Bye.
So kind of just jumping into a comment from Adrian Chen, and you can also make comments on our Facebook group, again, at facebook.com/group/IGN Anime Club, called the IGN Anime Club official group. Watching the casting scene, I wonder if the situation happened when they were casting Himoto and Maru-chan. Ayumi Tanaka, who voiced Umaru, is fairly new and had not done many roles, though it is good to see studios taking a chance of giving leads to newcomers. Hearing the same actors voicing every anime would be boring, and I think you kind of hear that every now and then.
It's sort of
Yeah.
like
It's
in
just-
games where you're like, is that Nolan North or is it Troy Baker? They
Yeah.
all blend
It's
together.
like, you're so great.
It's one of them.
But-
But there's a
But what
there's a
about everybody
reason
else?
having done voice acting. The reason
Yeah.
being
Well,
is
sure.
that most people are not that good. Like they can't deliver consistently.
Right.
So a lot of newcomers will be really good, but not necessarily guaranteed
Sure.
to
Yeah.
be consistent throughout
Right.
the episode. So when you see Troy Baker and you see Nolan North and credits, you're like, them again? Because they do top tier performances every time. So I
Right.
understood their dilemma of
Oh,
like,
I
we
get
could
it.
take a risk, but if we don't have the finances to do this and we don't have the star power, it's a dilemma for them.
It's like one of the points that they made in the casting meeting was that, like, you know, you coach them through it. Like, yeah, it's hard, but if this is a unique talent and they really fit the role, then maybe
Yeah.
it's better to take a chance and, like,
Yeah.
help them get there.
They were talking
than
about
to-
nurturing them, yeah.
Yeah,
than to
nurture
use the
a
same
newcomer,
Yeah.
yeah.
Than to use the same person again and again. Which, of course, is good because, like people were saying in the meeting, is that they have that attractiveness because everybody knows them and they have,
Yeah.
like, Google rankings or whatever.
Google
So-
rankings.
But
Yeah.
it's nice that they do give newcomers a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that is super important. It's like it was what Giselle was saying earlier.
It's like, how do you
Like,
get started?
How do you get started if nobody will give you a chance?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of jokes on like Reddit and stuff about how like entry level jobs are like, we also need 20 years experience. Because when you're applying for jobs as a recent graduate or someone who's still in college trying to find a first job,
Yeah.
it's really hard because it is risky to hire someone who hasn't had a job before. But also giving people a chance can be really rewarding. It's a weird, I think it's hard for the employer and hard for the employee too. Because the employer's kind of like, well, we have no idea if you're even going to show up on time every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we have no indication that you are doing anything. So, it's weird. I liked that the director made an argument for Zuka-chan.
That
Yeah.
was
Like,
that was super cute.
It was like we asked her to cold read something and she nailed it,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
She nailed the character and it was really hard to do. And I loved that he made that argument for her even though she didn't get it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he did say he was like a second choice. He was
Yeah,
like,
he
really
was-
good, but
But
you
like,
know,
here's just someone to look out for, kind of.
the
Yeah.
good news is when that happens, though, they'll sometimes call people back and like, can you do this character
Yeah.
instead? Or they actually will remember and they'll recommend you to another person. So
Right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping Zuka-chan gets that.
yeah, it feels
Yeah.
sad. It's bad because like everyone else is kind of doing stuff, and she just keeps falling back and working at the bar. And
She's getting there though.
but like the thing I like about her character the most is that she turns it around. Like she puts on not necessarily a brave face, but she genuinely is like, hey. I'm gonna keep positive. I'm gonna keep trying. That is this job. That is what
Yeah.
I have to keep doing.
Yeah.
And she seems to have a really good grasp on that, and isn't like a downer the entire time, which is
Right, I like
nice.
that about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then of course Diesel-chan gets in the studio. It's like, yes,
Diesel-chan!
finally.
Yeah.
I love that her
love her.
nickname is just they're like they were so embarrassed when they told her that too. It's like we were like sorry.
We call you, it's very rude. I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, keep calling me Diesel-chan. I'm like, yeah, Diesel-chan!
Yeah, I think that's so cool that she just like, you know, on her free time did all that work, and then here she is. It's awesome. It's like
Yeah, it's like kind of the other side of the coin for Zuka-chan. Like, sometimes you put in the hard work and it doesn't pan out all the time, and you have to keep trying. And then sometimes you do see the reward, and Deal-chan put in all of that, kind of like in her spare time, put in all that effort, and they recognized her merit. So you kind of see both sides. Sometimes it doesn't work, and sometimes it does.
Yeah. And she was still trying to figure out what she wanted to do too. She was like, I don't know what to do. And then, but she loves researching and like learning about new things. I was like, oh wow.
Turns
that
out there's
just
a job for that.
fit like a glove. Yeah. That was really cool.
Lucky.
Yeah. So I actually want to jump into a question we got about the show from Francisco Mercado. He said, I like the show and I believe it's very good, but something is missing from the show from making it a great show. My belief is that it is missing some realism in the show. The realism that it is missing comes from the group of girls. I'm having trouble with the belief that they always get along with each other. I am not asking for a bad girls club, but I would like to see some conflict between the girls. Real friendship is not all smiles and giggles. Some of it is built on conflict and anger when you come out on the other side with mutual appreciation for the other person. For example, if two of the girls were going for the same career path and seeing how the dynamic played out, would have brought an added dimension to the show. If it would have created some conflict within the group. What do you guys think?
So, Zuko-chan, I remember there was a point where she was trying to reach out to her friends, but they were all busy. So only one of them got to meet up with them. I think things like that might happen, where like work kind of like comes first before, supporting each other. But in terms of, aren't they all doing different professions though?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so what Francisco's saying, like, it would be interesting if two of them are going to be going for voice acting.
Yeah.
Because you get to see the competitiveness. I had a friend in high school who would always say, like, really underhanded things. Like, I used to be self-conscious about my legs, but then I saw you wearing shorts, and now I feel
Oh, geez.
she's actually said that to me.
Wow.
So, while I think that's realistic, I don't think that's a very high school thing, and I do think these girls are adults, so I wouldn't expect to see anything like that bad. But I do agree that this is the point in my life where I've had the most female friends I've ever had. And it is working out very well, and we're all friends. And I don't have to deal with people saying mean things about my legs, which is cool. I don't know. I don't know what would be more realistic. Sometimes I like seeing healthy female friendships.
I get what he's saying, though. I mean, this show is missing, like, despite, like, deadlines and stuff, I feel like there's no overarching conflict between the female friends. They all just get along and complain to each other. It's really cute. And I think sometimes what's engaging is seeing conflict. People like it. And there's not anything, I don't know how you do it, but I understand exactly what he's saying.
Like if Zuka got bitter.
Yeah, if Zuka got bitter and started, holding on
And
to
started drinking.
Very drink.
Yeah, but just something like that where she does, she's like starts taking displaced anger out on them, like some sort of conflict, because I don't see a lot of it. I feel like the story is a little bit predictable that somehow they're going to make it through, which is a through line for every show, but you don't ever have a moment of doubt. So I understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
So while I understand, I also disagree a little bit because I've had a relationship like what these girls have with each other. And it's like once you get out in the workplace and once you're gone from each other, you don't have that time to be around each other, to be mad at each other. Like you don't bicker. Like if they were bickering, they're probably doing it while they're in school. Like we didn't see that time when they're all actually together. And like while they are together in this show, like quotes, they are very rarely working together and actually interacting. And so like when they do come together, it's like a special moment when they're all having fun. Like we rarely get to see them meet up at bars and stuff. And so I think because they are so displaced from each other now, they have a more mature adult relationship where it's not exactly a conflict.
Yeah, I feel like proximity breeds that kind of conflict sometimes. It's like after a while you're like, oh my God, stop chewing so loudly. But if you only see them like once a month, then you're like, I missed you so much, and I don't really care about your loud chewing that much.
Yeah, I think it would make sense for Zuka-chan to get a little bit more angry, but well, I understand why she wouldn't want to take it on her friends. Like, it's not their fault.
If anything, she'd just be frustrated.
I think it's a very adult way to handle it, and I like seeing that because I don't know. I feel like I didn't get a lot of examples of that growing up, like healthy female friendships. So while I agree that I don't know if it's the most realistic, I also like it as an example of like, here's how adult women behave, even when things aren't going well for all of them.
Yeah, because
I'm of two minds on this.
I don't know. The reason why I kind of break off from everyone else is because I know what he's saying. I think this show is very good. I don't think it's that great. That's my personal. I know it's a lot of people's favorite show, but it's not working for me. It's like I like it, but I'm not going to be like, this is my top 5 anime. And I think part of the reason is there's something that's not quite drawing me in. It just
fair.
feels like it sometimes drifts a little bit about what it wants to be.
It's great for what it is, like just to showcase the behind the scenes.
Yeah,
of the
I do
animation,
like that a lot.
which is great. But yeah, I think the whole proximity conversation, like now that they are working together, and then Miyamori being a production desk, having to poke people a lot. I wonder if anything might like.
Yeah, I mean, you still do see some of those stresses, like with
Yeah.
Miyamori and Emma. They already had their little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they've had things. It's not anger. It's more of like confusion, and they don't necessarily read each other's emotions great all the
Totally.
time.
Yeah, they'll have some spats, but I
that's-
doubt it's gonna like break them apart.
Yeah, I mean, that's not really the focus of the show either.
Yeah,
Like their
yeah.
friendship is part of it, but it's not what the show is necessarily.
Yeah.
And they
It's
kind of
not
work
them.
together already anyway when
Yeah.
they're in school
Yeah.
in a big project like that. So
And I'm kind of a little happy that it's not focused on the drama between them as friends. It's more about what they're trying to achieve as
You could watch
individuals.
Degrassi.
there's
Yeah, yeah. Like there's plenty of dramas about that.
Degrassi
That where
anime.
the workplace or the club is the background, and then the friends and stuff are the main point in their
Yeah.
drama. So it's nice to have that.
there's enough drama in work
focus.
already anyway.
Yeah.
Enough on each of them. But yeah.
Anyway, do we want to explain Boys Night really quickly? We're listening to a podcast called Hello from the Magic Tavern, and that's all you need to know about that. It's just a reference.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hello
Yeah.
from the Magic Tavern.
Hello from the Magic
It's
Tavern.
really great.
What do they
Another
talk
show you should
about?
add.
It's like an improv comedy D&D podcast.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like when she says D&D, it's not like they're
They're
rolling
not-
dice or
they're not
anything.
playing
Oh, yeah, sure.
D&D.
Are in a fantasy world,
Yeah.
and it's really great.
And he happens to have his podcasting equipment, and I think
Behind a Burger King.
I think the character Chunt might be my husbando.
Ah.
You looked very surprised. His name is Chunt.
Uh-huh.
He's a talking badger,
He's a
shapeshifter.
shapeshifter. And I love him.
Anyway, so next week we will be watching episodes 15 and 16, so be sure to tune in. You can talk to us on Twitter, #IGN Anime. I check that every now and then, so hashtag your tweets and I will check that.
Yeah.
And you can also send in any questions you want to IGN_Anime Club at IGN.com for email.
I have
And
a
of
cool little
course,
pink filter for all those emails, so
Yeah.
you get to check
Nice.
them out.
Nice.
We always appreciate hearing your thoughts.